right, y'all. I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, here with my review of Season 1, Episode 7 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law on Disney+. You already know the drill. If you ain't seen the episode yet, come back because will be spoilers. Sorry you all are getting this a little later in the day. I have been extremely busy. I'm tired as all hell, but I said that I'll make sure I get this out for the peoples because I like y'all. Shouts out to everybody commenting on everything with the previous episodes, everybody engaging in the discussion, keeping it civil for the most part. I'll even give a shout out to the dudes who are probably not getting none without paying for it because y'all interject in the conversations and we understand how y'all are the way you are. 7 episodes in, and I love it that after this last, now shouts out to the homie Chris Lee, who was a member of my one-on-one with the Supervillain Squad, and we did his one-on-one with Supervillain, which if you remember my Patreon, you can see, he said at the time we recorded it that Daredevil wasn't going to show up in the previous episode, and he didn't, and I thought they were going to do it, and now I'm loving it even more that he may not show up till the very end, till episode 9, and I'm fine with it. You know why? It's not his show. I've seen people online getting mad, getting upset, like how they gonna tease us and not give us Daredevil. Easy. It's not Daredevil's show. Daredevil is going to be in a full 18 episode show. I understand it's years from now, but it is his show. This is She-Hulk, which also, this episode is indicative of what this show is about. If you look at every breakdown from IMDb to the official Disney Plus of what the show is, it is the story of a 30-something-year-old single woman who is a lawyer trying to navigate dating life, and she just happens to be a Hulk. That is what this is. Because after the last episode, remember, we met Josh, and a lot of us were like, yo, I think Josh might be bad. I think I said it myself, and we find out later on this episode he is. Him and Jen go on dates. They go on like 3 dates. Jen waits to the 3rd date to finally give him some. She wanted to give him some after the 2nd. She was like, I'm gonna hold out. She give him some on the 3rd date, and then the next morning wakes up, he's gone. And she like, all right, cool. She don't think much of it, but she texts him, hey, last night was fun. Can't stop smiling. Just waiting to see if she hear back from him. Now, a lot of people do this in many different situations. Sometimes men even do it. I myself have never sent the yo, can't stop smiling, but I have sent the yo, that was fun. Yo, appreciate it. Yo, that was fun. We got to do that again. I ain't said it can't stop smiling because I ain't want you to know I was cheesing after you probably broke me off, but I was. But nonetheless, I text her, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we had a dope time. You know what I mean? I appreciate you. I got to now air my sheets out and rewash them because you soaked them. I didn't know you was a squirt. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But she doesn't hear from her. And then she gets a phone call. She waits she's freaking out. She goes to work. And Nikki is like, yo, chill. He probably busy. He probably doing a bunch of different things. And Jen is like, all right, she can't focus on work. She's also been nominated for Female Lawyer of the Year. Y'all gonna see me looking down at my notes a lot. But then comes Sunday. Jen's still at the crib trying to just live life, but checking the phone consistently. Like people who are really into somebody will do that, right? And so she gets a call, and the call she thinks she was hoping it was Josh. It's not. It's Blonsky's PO, and was like, yo, his inhibitor acting up. I need to go check and see if dude can turn back into Abomination. And basically like, yo, I don't want to go by myself. Can I get a Hulk with me? Can you come through? And she was like, all right, whatever. She ain't had nothing else to do. And the whole time while she is driving to go to Blonsky's retreat, she is constantly checking to see if she got the message back from Josh. She's yet to get anything. Bro, Jen starts singing Mbop by Hanson. I was like, this is happening. She gets to the spot, Summer Twilights, and come to find out everything's okay. His inhibitor just, he got an electric fence, something happened. It short-circuited the inhibitor, everything is good. But the PO dude, after realizing everything is good, speeds the hell up out of there. He gone. And so Jen, talking to him, talking to Blonsky, and Blonsky's like, yo, Blonsky's like, I'm good. And Jen like, I don't need to be here for what this retreat is and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, 2 individuals destroy the front end of her car. We found out they are El Aguilar and Man Bull. Now, here's the thing. Man Bull is my homie Nathan Hurd. I've seen him as Man Hurd in the makeup back in February. I saw him back in the makeup as Man Bull back then. He showed me, and I didn't tell anybody. I'd been known he was going to be Man Bull in an episode of She-Hulk. Shouts out to the homie Nathan Hurt. And, all these different things. It finds out that Jen's car now won't drive, and the only way she can get a tow truck eventually after calling is it's going to be like most of the day. There's no Wi-Fi. And so one of the biggest things is Jen's trying to get a signal to see if Josh has retexted her the whole night. The whole day she's trying to get a signal. She doesn't really want to be here. Finally stumbles into a group and gets a signal. And then like, oh shit. And now she's involved in this group. And this is where the episode really gets interesting, because in this one, Marvel decided to give us a lot of other obscure characters out of the Marvel universe. We already get two in Manbull and in Aguilar, right? Who also says, I'm not a matador, I'm a swashbuckler. And everybody's like, look, chill. We get Porcupine, which has been a moniker passed down from different people who wear the suit. And then we get Saracen. Now, this is a deep, deep cut. Like, Saracen is a dude that thinks he's a vampire, but he's not. And so when you hear somebody who thinks they're a vampire, what's the first thing you're naturally going to think about? Blade. He does try to spark up trouble for Blade in the comics at one point in time or another. So that is a thing that actually happens. So we're kind of getting more Blade tie-ins low-key, even though, as I'm recording this, the news has come out that the director, has stepped aside from the project, and Mahershala Ali evidently is pissed with what the script is for the first 90 pages. So, like, who knows what's going on with the film. But, all of them are talking and sharing in the group. You find out that Manbull and an Aguilar are like codependent upon one another. Manbull wants to keep charging an Aguilar who's like a matador and what have you. And come in the door is a dude. And then Jen goes, wait, not this dude. Did they previously on? She fourth wall breaks and goes, did they previously on this dude? You know what? I'll do it. Previously on. And it goes back to the episode where these guys are trying to steal her blood. And it is the Wrecker, the guy who has the magical crowbar. He is a big deal. Not a big deal. He is a member of the comics in the Marvel Comics universe. That is one of the things that this show in itself has definitely done, has had the leeway to introduce so many characters you would never get in any other situation. And so to have Porcupine, Saracen, Manbull, and Aguilar, the Wrecker, all them Aguilar, all them in one is kind of dope. But Jen sees dude, because remember, so the whole time she's just trying to be Jen, sees dude, hulks out and get ready to beat his ass, and Blonsky them just stand chill like, yo, you need to go to the angry chair. And all these things, and you hear the group going, ooh, you in trouble, and everything. And so she finally goes to the angry chair. After a while, dude talks about how he's reformed himself. He's not that way. The crowbar and has made him and his boys just feel tough when they weren't, blah, 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 blah. But they start getting to the root of Jen, and she's still in her Hulk form. And one of the biggest things with her checking her phone, it's like she finally met a dude who liked her as Jen, and now she can't get back in touch with it. But everybody loves She-Hulk. And she realized that when she was in high school, how like the jocks, the popular girl, popular guy, the athletes would always be getting the attention. She can be that at a moment's notice, but she wants the attention as herself. And I think I talked about this in previous episodes. Again, that's a thing in real life, just with people, not just men, not just women, but men as well. They want to be, some people have personalities or professions where people see them as rappers, entertainers, actors, doctors, lawyers, and sometimes they just want to be liked for the person who they are. And so this is a big thing. But then to find out, everybody like, yo, what did you text him? And she was like, yo, I can't stop smiling. And then she get told, yo, that's thirsty and cliche. And then she also texted him, hey, I hadn't heard from you. I was getting worried about you. They was like, oh, why'd you do this? Like, the group is supportive of her, trying to get her to accept herself, while the members of the group are accepting themselves again and dealing with things in themselves and understanding their identities, which is a part of the compound. I'm surprised we didn't see Blonsky 7 wives, though, but that's another thing. But then you have Wrecker tell her that you just got to accept the fact you might have got ghosted, and it hurts. And because she thinks he liked her. He liked Jen at the wedding. He didn't meet She-Hulk. He met Jennifer Walters, even though Jennifer Walters is She-Hulk. And you have her breaking down. You have Tatiana Maslany breaking down. And again, throughout this show, we've seen moments where I look on social media a lot of times after the episode airs, and I watch. I mean, dudes are gonna say what dudes are gonna say, but I watch the women's comments, how they relate to this. And I think a lot of guys are oblivious to that part. That is why, when we say the words representation matters, we're not just always talking about your race. We're not always just talking about your culture, but gender too. Because again, when you get the stories right, that is representation. And there are women who have gone through what she had, where she was in the courtroom with her exes, and then the one dude was like, yo, if she came as her regular Jennifer Walters, I wouldn't have rocked with her. Then she finds out a guy that did like her as Jennifer Walters ghosted her. Now, I'm of the mindset when it comes to ghosting. I've had this whole big discussion of, I don't give a shit. I feel like if somebody ghosts you, let it go. Now, in her situation, I understand, because her dealing with these dual personalities, and people are only liking the other personality and not her, right? Whereas when I think of it in real life, like, there's no superhero person. The average person is just an average person. And if they get ghosted, people are like, oh man, I feel like the person should have communicated with me. Like, no one owes you that. No one owes you that. Like, if somebody don't want to stop fucking with you, if y'all wasn't in a committed relationship and spend real time together, like real time, I've always been of the mindset, yo, you can be gone, whatever, because that's everybody. Some people be like, I need closure. No, you don't. The closure is they're gone. But nonetheless, her breaking down her feelings is a big thing about it. And so the group finds out about Josh. They about ready to go rumble on Josh. They like, yo, we finna go kill dude. He done made an enemy of everybody in this group. And then you got Saracen like, yo, you are good, because he said, I really like Jen. And Jen, I believe that Jen is really great and tasty. You know what? Yeah, that went too far. I was like, yo. He said it went off the rails. Then eventually he gets Porcupine to take off the mask throughout all this. Porcupine takes off the mask and it stinks up the whole room. And they're like, yo, how many hours a day are you in this suit? And the first thing dude says, because it's a black dude, is like, what? Am I ashy? Yo, that is real black people shit right there. Y'all, a lot of y'all probably don't get it. Ashiness is a silent killer of the self-esteem of dark-skinned black men and women. Like, light-skinned people, y'all get ashy, but we don't really see your ash. But dark-skinned people, our ash come up and it look like the struggle. So for him to think that all was the problem was the ash and not the stench is a whole nother thing. But eventually Jen gets her car towed. She's heading back, and then as the episode closes, we see 3 days later goes back to the date with Josh. And after Josh, they go in, Jen brings him in, they sleep together. When Josh is leaving, he's getting dressed, he's cloning her phone and taking pictures of her while sleeping and everything, and texts the Hulk King he's got the blood and everything, and they're good to go. So again, it proves that Josh is bad, but Josh, and a part of intelligentsia, because, that's the thing. Again, I'm strongly inclined to believe the bad guy in the situation is Samuel Stearns, the leader. It's Tim Blake Nelson. It's the only person I can think of that would want Jen's blood that well. Remember, Bruce is off-world. Bruce has probably gone to Sakaar to get his son that we can think of. Because again, in the comics, remember that the MCU cannot do a Hulk movie proper because the rights are owned by Universal. But they can take Hulk characters and Hulk plot points and put them in to different TV shows and films. So I think that's the thing with Bruce. So he's out the question, possibly, maybe later. So he might come back, who knows. But I believe this bad guy is the leader. It is Samuel Stearns. And we're getting closer and closer. And again, more people going to be upset again in episode 6 and 7. No Daredevil yet. And that is fine. That is totally fine. This story is what it's supposed to be. Like I stated earlier. It is the story of a single lawyer in her 30s navigating dating life who just happens to now be a superhero. Because if you pay attention to every episode, some people are like, man, I don't see much She-Hulk fighting. Because it's not really about her fighting as She-Hulk. It is about her trying to live her dating life. She has to be She-Hulk at work because that's what GLK&H, what they hired her for, as the She-Hulk, to be the attorney. When she has to fight, those situations again, Titania in the previous episode, her confronting the wrecker and then turning back, or going to check on Abomination to make sure he hadn't been Abomination. Those are things, but it's all about her dating life. This is a sitcom. Again, this is Ally McBeal, for those unfamiliar with that, with superpowers. And I keep seeing people going, oh man, the writing on the show is terrible. You wouldn't know how to write a show if it hit you in the fucking face. Stop. I really wish people would just be honest. At this point, again, if you're at episode 7 and you say you don't like this show, you're setting yourself up. If you keep saying, man, I just don't like this show, you keep watching it though. I said it last week. You keep watching it. Everybody's going to have their opinions. I know this, and I've said this before. Everybody has their opinions and their thoughts on this show, and that's fine. But also, I feel like any opinion that you have, back it up with fact. Back it up with actual proof. Because again, people are like, oh, no one likes this show. I'm seeing women connecting with this show, talking about this is things women go through. People do like this show. There are people who like the sitcom element because it reminds them of the 90s. A lot of y'all don't remember the 90s sitcom era. There are things about this show resonate with people, and there are things that don't resonate with people, and that's fine. But for those who do, they have the reasons why. For those that don't, I feel like people are grasping at straws. Again, one of the big things now is, oh, we didn't get Daredevil, blah, blah, blah. You were never promised Daredevil. And throughout the show, you were promised you're going to see him. You weren't promised he was going to be a main character. You weren't promised he was going to be in multiple episodes. You just know you're going to see him on a roof. That is all you know. You are going to see Daredevil on a roof. Because that is all you were seeing through a trailer. So, nonetheless, again, as every episode, if I get this rating, seeing one of my friends in the episode is great. That now makes 7 friends that I have that are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 7. I'm trying to audition finally for a show. I want to just finally if I can get in the casting office just to put a tape out there. I would love to be in the MCU. Look, hopefully being on a TV show now can help get me further into the MCU, but I digress. But I want to, out of this episode, I say I give it a 4.5, 4 3/4 stars, like Star Search. But I want to know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, like I tell y'all, please be civil. We're talking about comic book movies and TV shows. All right. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. The Man Titan Podcast is back, myself and BC, every single week. We drop it on Mondays. Everywhere you get your podcast from, I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action cinematic universes. It is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Come on in the convo. The show I was going to potentially be doing with TK Trinidad, I am not able to do it right now because my schedule has gotten immensely packed. One of the things with Los Angeles, of course, when you're working a lot out here, you're not making a lot. You're working and setting the foundation and all these things to make the money eventually. So a nigga's broke. So if you like it, the thank you is down below. Also join my one-on-ones. Join my Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. So you can check out the one-on-ones with the supervillain that I do with a lot of members of the squad who are members at that tier. American Gigolo is on. I'm currently in episodes 2 and 3, and my character Luther will be back in the season finale of episode 8. So you have 4 more episodes with John Barenthal, Rosie O'Donnell, Gretchen Mole, Wayne Brady. All right, so check those out. Again, it's on Showtime, and if you have the Showtime extension on your streaming apps. And thank you to everybody who's been showing me love on the appearances on American Gigolo. It means the world to me. Holla at y'all next week for episode 8. Take care. I'm out. Bye.